John, when you're elected state senator, you're going to be facing some things I'm sure you've thought about, but among those will be the responsibility that the Senate has in affirming or ratifying and advising consent relative to the governor's appointment to all the boards of directors and commissions and even your entire cabinet. How do you feel about that role as a senator? Is that something one should give a lot of attention to?
Well, absolutely. I think it's interesting because probably the majority of people don't even realize of that particular part of the position that a state senator does, and then actually being someone that's actually participated and been appointed to a state board as from the OSU Medical Authority standpoint. I understand it. I understand the importance of that, and because that is a critical part of what's going on in the state, and it impacts all the different agencies that are out there, and it's important that we get the right people appointed to those particular boards.
Good. Been through that process, so I understand.
Yeah.
Let me ask you an education question. We live in an urban area, and many of the issues relative to school districts in the district that you'll be representing are common concerns. There's a tendency of people in the urban areas to overlook the fact that there are school districts in other parts of the state that face totally different issues. We have enough students in most of the high schools in the area that can offer very advanced classes, and they have great curriculum because they have a mass of people who are able to take those subjects. But in western Oklahoma, there are very few districts that have that capacity. What do you think about how to address some of those issues?
Well, I think it's a situation that, number one, must be addressed. It's not a situation, will we address it? We must address it, and it's part of what I want to accomplish is put a 10-year plan together that will support that. Because we've had an increased migration away from the rural areas into the urban areas, so we have to look at it. I've been involved with OSU Medical Authority, and one of our focuses has been on the rural areas of the state. So I understand it both from a medical standpoint and a shortage of doctors and specialists. Same thing on the education side. We have to come up with the ways so that the students there are getting the access to the math, the sciences, the language, the arts, and so forth, just like in an urban area, because we want to get more companies into this state. We want to be able to diversify our economy, and so in order to attract the type of businesses that we want to bring here, we've got to have education to where it needs to be, and that again applies to all areas of the state, not just a single region.
Many people are just thinking about current issues, but as a member of the Senate, senators are elected for 4-year terms, so people going in 2018 will still be serving in 2022. And most people have not thought about the fact that we have a census in 2020, and under the Constitution, the state Senate is involved in the process of helping analyze all the population shifts, and one of those responsibilities would be redesigning the districts of congressional representatives for the state. At least the lines dealing with District 1 and 2 would be very important to the people in eastern Oklahoma and the metropolitan area, Tulsa and Broken Arrow metropolitan areas. What do you think about that responsibility? I'm sure many people haven't even thought about the fact that you'd be involved in redesigning congressional boundaries.
Yeah. Well, here's what you have. I mean, obviously, as an elected member, whether it's a state legislature or in Washington, it's about the representation of the people. And so as we go in and redistricting takes place, and do we run into the situation of actually losing a U.S. representative in Washington, that would be a negative impact on the state. So it behooves us to constantly look at this, and as we do an analysis of this data, to make sure that we're doing this to the best of our abilities so that we're not losing out, or if we do, how can we make it up here from a state standpoint to make sure that all the needs and everything that we have as a state are being met, and that we're very sensitive to the particular issues that each of the constituents have.
It's obvious you've already thought about that.
Gave a little bit of thought to it, absolutely, absolutely.